Hello, this is Mad Cat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. Today, we're going to be talking about a female Marine fired for doing what feminists want, treating women like men. And remember, I mostly report on issues surrounding the inequality of men, but once in a while I do report on bullshit that happens to women. I am an angry egalitarian after all. So before we get started today, I want to make an apology to my last video. I kind of failed to make my point. I wanted to show some of the comments and state that, people in those comments couldn't really complain because, red versus blue had always been offensive. But one person kind of came out and called me on it and was a complete asshat, and he doesn't really deserve mentioning. So, I mean, if you want to go seek him out and tell him what a bullshit asshole cunt he is, feel free to do so. But I'm going to try to see if I can get this to work. I had problems with it in the past, but I'm going to try to go through things a lot faster. So these videos are not so long. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Not full screen. There we go. Here we go. Wow, that looks completely different shade. Okay, so anyways, I am doing a Phoenix Gamergate meetup August 29th. If you're in Arizona or are coming to Arizona by August 29th, you're welcome to attend. Just use the GG in PHX hashtag, and I will find you, and I can give you additional details. I do have a venue set. I need to get some final details from that, but as we get closer, confirmed people who sign up for this will get the information of where to go on August 29th. The date is open for suggestion, though. We don't have to do it this specific day, but I do want to do it around this time for the 1-year anniversary of Gamergate. So let's get to our article at hand. So controversy surrounds... What the fuck? Oh, holy shit. Oh, I spent all that work on that and it just disappeared, you fucking piece of shit. All right, so... Oh, I'm going to have to try to go through this without it. Fucking hell. I mean, I spent like 20 minutes highlighting everything for you, so... All right, so we'll just have to try to go through this as fast. Okay, so a Marine officer who led the service-only all-female recruit battalion was fired amid complaints of toxic leadership environments, but her supporters say that she was trying to make the unit better by holding women to tougher standards. You know, the standards that men must adhere to. By the way, if you are listening, you are welcome to type in the chat, and I will try to read things from the chat as best as I can. So, Lieutenant Colonel Kate Germano, the former commanding officer of the 4th Recruit Training Battalion at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Paris Island, South Carolina, there's a mouthful, was found to be hostile, unprofessional, and abusive, according to command investigation. She was relieved June 30th. Officers who served her say that she was a blunt reformer who spearheaded efforts to improve recruit training regardless of gender, and that a vocal minority in the battalion undercut her achievements. Her tactics, for example, dramatically improved range qualification rates for female recruits. This article is kind of weirdly structured. It mentions some of these things and then explains them in greater detail later. So, The ensuring controversy provides a glimpse into the ongoing struggle established by equality standards for male and female Marines. She is petitioning lawmakers for redress, saying that she was treated unjustly by base leadership. She declined to provide additional details. Now, Brigadier Terry Williams stated that there was a poor command climate and the loss of trust and confidence in her ability. There was a command investigation that states that she displayed toxic leadership by publicly berating and showing contempt for subordinates, bullying Marines, and singling them out for underperformance. Okay, that's what happens in the military. That's what you do in the military. You single out people who are underperforming and let the rest of the command know they're underperforming. That's what happens in the military. You're telling me that you're complaining that she did her fucking job? Seriously? On one occasion, she made comments during a sexual assault prevention brief that female Marines interpreted as victim blaming, leading some to testify that it would make them feel less comfortable reporting sexual assault within the command. Oh my God, social justice warriors have entered the Marine Corps? You'd think that they wouldn't be interested. She reinforced gender bias and stereotypes in the minds of the Marines by telling them on several occasions that male Marines would not take orders from them and would see them as inferior if they could not meet men's physical standards. Well, there's some truth in that. If they can't do what men can do, if they don't set themselves up at that time, then why should any man follow their orders? When you give an order, it's generally suggested that it's something that you yourself can carry out and that you should be doing yourself, but you can't because you're needed to do something else. So you order someone to do it. You know, giving orders is not just, I'm your boss and I demand that you do it, even though I can't do it myself. You order people to do the things that you can do. And if you cannot do the things that your subordinates can do, now, I mean, certainly if someone is a bit older and has earned their position, like they're, you know, in their 40s and 50s, yeah, that's understandable. But they earned to that position because they had always been in a position to where they could have done it before. There was the results of the Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute. Hold on one moment. Thank you. Actually, I got it for you, Kelly, but it's probably okay. Well, I'm trying to be better about not like hogging these. So I got a bag for you and a bag for me. It never comes to me. Mine are all gone. Okay. Cool. Am I triggering? Okay, well, not triggering. Am I echoing? Okay, I'm going to turn down my sound. Hopefully that fixes the problem. Thank you for reporting it, Black Knight Fool. How are they supposed to fight away if they triggered? Okay. If you could retype that, I'm not really understanding that, but I think you're trying to make a point about how are they supposed to fight if they're triggered. All right, so the survey found that nearly half the respondents thought the unit did not promote a climate based on respect and trust. 20% believe that the unit did not create an environment where victims would feel comfortable reporting sexual assault. Well, that's on them then. Honestly. Now, she did write a letter. I'm not going to read the full letter. You can come here and take a look at the letter yourself, but I will read this little part. Despite considerable active and passive resistance throughout all echelons of the recruit depot and the Marine Corps, we each work incredibly hard to improve the performance of our recruits to make them stronger, faster, smarter, and better shots, all to the better all to better the institution. We achieve unprecedented and historical results in just a short period of time, and regardless of the controversy caused but our goal to improve the caliber of our graduates, I ask that you remain steadfast and committed to this objective. She declined further requests for comments, stating that her letter is all the comments she really wants to make. Again, you can go and read her letter. Now, a legal officer by training, Geronimo took command last year. She was responsible for leading nearly 100 Marines and overseeing 3 drill instructor teams. She was responsible for 22 boot camp series graduations per year. Her 18 years as a Marine officer, she served as a Marine aide to the Navy Secretary Ray Mabus in 2011. She also served as recruiting station commander of a recruiting station, San Diego, screening potential recruits from 2007 to 2010. Now, when she arrived, she was dismayed upon arrival to find that all female recruit battalions were kept separate from male counterparts for events such as the Crucible Hike. Now, what's the Crucible Hike? Well, I pulled this up. The Crucible, the final test in Marine Corps recruit training that pushes you physically, mentally, and emotionally beyond the limits of what average human beings can endure. The Crucible is designed to break, torture, try, and teach. 8 events, several situations, 2-degree temperature, frozen mud, excuse me, and 55 miles of hiking, obstacle course, and team building missions. Sleep deprivation, food deprivation, that was the easy part. So it's a final test that's meant to really challenge you. That when you pass, you become a Marine. Now, this is the standard that men have to do, and this is a standard that women have to do. And generally, training together is the ideal. That when you pass, that was the thing about the Marines that I always envied. I mean, unlike the other military forces, the Marines were a family. When you were a Marine, it wasn't a job. You're a Marine for life. So that's what it means to be a Marine. The unit, she found, struggled to retain adequate enlisted and officer staff because of its all-female composition, resulting in shortened rest periods between boot camp series and overworked Marines. Now, what this is referring to is that, if you have an all-female staff, all-female unit, then you need female staff to overlook them. But since there were few female staff to oversee this, that means that they had to work just that much harder for each thing. And, after a while, you're going to get overworked. Let's say, for example, that, a drill sergeant would have to, or a drill instructor would have to do like one unit and then rest, and then another unit rest. I don't know what it actually is. But perhaps a female would have to do 2 in a row, then 1 rest, 2 in a row, then 1 rest. Eventually, the female drill instructor will get overworked faster than her male counterpart because there's someone who can replace him for the next unit, giving him time to rest. What she did when she came is, that one thing saved. What she did when she came is changed the mentality of the Marines in the battalion and the recruits to not expect a historically lower performance than the male recruits at the battalion. Almost all categories performed better during her tenure just by challenging the training protocol of performing separately. Now, in 2014, 2015, the average first-time rifle qualification rates for the depot's 3 male battalions improved from 93% to 96%. It sounds like a small amount, but that's actually pretty impressive. However, the same for females is 79% to 91%. 79% for range rifle qualification rates, from 79% to 91%, meaning that she was able to get women on average to shoot 15% better than before. 15% improvement. Now, 15 doesn't sound like a really big number, but it is. It really is, considering that she only improved from 93% to 96%. And the women, she made such a big jump. I mean, maybe you could disagree with some of the things that she did. I disagree with one or two things, but she got results. She's trained better female Marines. 79% to 91%, a difference of 15%. 15% improvement. And she gets fired. She gets fired for doing her fucking job. She probably came in and was told, look, we need these scores to be higher. She saw a problem and did something about it, where so many people in the past failed to do so. Now, she felt that her efforts were being undermined by her immediate superior, Recruit Training Regiment Commander Colonel Daniel Haas. As she said, through his words, actions, and omissions, he has empowered malcontent within my unit to foment dissent, as demonstrated by the very pointed and similar comments about me in the recent Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute survey. This has resulted in a climate where female Marines who seek out the regiment staff to complain that the battalion leadership is mean and treated with kid gloves, feelings versus facts. And this is what the men's rights movement is always saying about feminism, is that feminism relies more on feelings than facts. And she's complaining that that's what the staff is doing, relying on, oh, you feel that way, then we're going to take action, rather than, well, we need to go ahead and get all the facts before we make any decisions. It's females complaining, so we must take it seriously, even if it's unsubstantiated. Now, in the request, she asked that depot leadership be directed to consider 100% of the battalion feedback in forming a perspective on the unit's command climate, and that the entire unit be allowed to take the survey, administered in a formal, controlled way. Well, that seems reasonable, doesn't it? That 100% of everyone must take this and it be administered in a formal, controlled way. The survey mentioned above had been loosely controlled, allowing disgruntled Marines to take it multiple times and negatively weighing the responses. What? A person could take a survey multiple times to complain about someone. What? I mean, according to the official documentation, 64 of the 99 members of the battalion took the survey, and at least one respondent admitted to taking it more than once. So a person could take a survey to bitch about their commanding officer multiple times, and they don't see a problem with that. In fact, they basically said, well, yeah, but that's not a problem. Then there was a second investigation which found no evidence of a hostile work environment or gender-based discrimination that Germano alleged. Now, if she's alleging that this was gender-based discrimination on her part, I kind of lose a little bit of respect for her on that. She hasn't really said anything specific about that, so I don't know if they're just saying, well, she said it, and she's not saying anything to defend herself because, you know, she's trying to do this the correct way through proper channels, or they think that that's what she's complaining about and just completely misunderstood, or maybe she actually is saying that this is gender-based discrimination, which I don't think, well, I don't think it directly is. I don't think this is gender-based discrimination so much as she didn't toe the line for what the Marines want for females to be trained as special snowflakes. She didn't take that bullshit. So I do think that gender is an important component here, but she wasn't judged for her gender. She was judged for not training females the way that the Marines wanted them to be trained. Instead, she made them better. Now, the report, this Training Education Command, did find that the battalion struggled due to inadequate personnel and a high operation tempo, a problem that Germano worked hard to change, according to the officers who served with her. So I'm kind of forget. Well, I think I skipped the rest of this. It's just kind of gobbledygook. The Paris Island Command investigated and witness statements paint a portrait of Germano as a driven officer who could be abrasive, aggressive, and dodgily pursue the goal of unit improvement and the apparent alienation of at least some Marines in the command. Oh, boo-hoo. There was an event where Germano attempt at reform, and the pushback from a unit caused the same month when she showed the short film "Throw Like a Girl" to a group of new Marines, created for Procter & Gamble advertisement that was screened during the Super Bowl. I don't personally like that video, but the video illustrates how many take the descriptor "like a girl" to mean weak or ineffective. The class then took a hard-edged turn, according to multiple witness statements, when Germano singled out Marines who couldn't perform 3 pull-ups or complete the physical fitness test 3-mile run in 23 minutes. Making these Marines stand, she told them, wouldn't be able to lead their male counterparts in the fleet, witnesses said. Oh my fucking God. Really? This is what happens in the military. Those who underperform are singled out. I mean, have you ever seen Full Metal Jacket? Have you ever seen A Few Good Men? Pretty much any military film shows this. Now, they do tend to be to the extreme, but this is what happens in the military. Generally, they're singled out to get the rest of the unit to try to help them. If anything, it's to give them a harder time to get them to come up. You know, a phrase that's often used is the strength of a chain is its weakest link. This is what happens. This is what men have to go through. And if you consider this to be abuse, you have to consider it to be abuse to men. But this is the fucking military. People are being trained to fight, especially the Marines. They are a front line force. They go in first. The Marines are required to be the top of the line. Even if they're just a general grunt, they have to be better than the rest of the armed forces. Better than Army grunts, better than Navy sailors, I guess. I don't know if you still call them grunts. Better than the airmen. They are better. And yet, you have to single them out. You have to single out the weakness to try to get the rest of the unit to take it more seriously. And she's saying that like a girl shouldn't be weak, and then she points out the weakness. That's the fucking military. That's what happens in the military. If you don't like that bullshit, well, if you don't like it, then get the fuck out. Don't even fucking sign up. This isn't a cakewalk. Social justice warriors shouldn't be signing up for the military, especially the Marine Corps. Oh my God, this is just heart-wrecking that this is what's coming into our military. And it makes me afraid that one day we might lose, a crucial war because there's some female who wasn't properly trained. Because someone like Germano wasn't in the position where she was doing good work, and instead catered to special snowflakes and their feelings. Okay, so this was the allegations about the victim blaming. It was basically an approach to sexual assault prevention. She implied that sexual assault is 100% preventable, and that by drinking, you're putting yourself in a position to be sexually assaulted. One attendee said that she would not feel comfortable reporting an assault following the brief because she felt that she would not be taken seriously. You stupid cunt. No, seriously, you're a stupid cunt. She was trying to say that you have a responsibility for your actions. Maybe it's not 100% preventable, but I seriously doubt she said that. I seriously doubt she said that you could completely prevent it. She probably said something similar to that it was preventable, but I seriously doubt she said 100%. But even then, she's saying that you have to be responsible, that you can prevent it by taking certain actions. But oh no, it's wrong to let women believe that they are responsible for their own actions. And her saying that you're responsible for your actions is, the way life is in the military. Hold on, I'm just checking something. Okay. Sometimes I get worried that my microphone goes off. This is not exactly the greatest computer in the world. I mean, and yes, I'm flabbergasted that women have a problem with this. That while sexual assault is a very, very bad thing, rape is a very bad thing. Saying that men are 100% responsible for it, even if they've never committed, is wrong. And yet that's what feminists want to do. Teach men not to rape. Don't tell women not to do something. Tell men that they shouldn't do something. And she's saying that that's basically bullshit and that you need to take a responsibility for your actions. I don't think she said that it was 100% preventable. I don't think she said it was 100% on you. But it is true that by drinking, you are putting yourself into a position to be sexually assaulted. That is true for men and women. So the investigation felt that there was no malice or bad intent. She just had a poor choice of words, and it left for misinterpretation. However, multiple people testified that she was a caring and supportive leader who made herself available to her Marines and prioritized troop welfare and the well-being of their families. That's interesting. Some female officer who spoke to this website in defense of her said that she observed her as a leader and mentor who went beyond the requirements of the job to look after her Marines, even taking the time to send flowers to family members of troops who were ill. Really? That doesn't really sound like what people are complaining about. It sounds like, she was a tough as nail leader who had some compassion to her. What we want our leaders to be. Yeah, I wish I had. I'm almost done with this article. Okay, so another Paris Island officer who supported Germano's fight to address unit personnel shortfalls said that the unit was better for having her as a commanding officer. The battalion was headed in the right direction under Lieutenant Colonel Germano, the officer said. She meant well. She was very passionate for what she did and believed in. This is the kind of person we need training, men and women, but specifically women. I mean, if for nothing else, the results of what she did, which I'm trying to pull up, 79% to 91% improvement for rifle qualification. Rifle qualification, she improved it by 15%, and that alone should say that she was doing something right. But instead, politics got involved and interfered with people's training because there were some females that felt triggered. Oh God, what is this world coming to? So I posted a tweet about this earlier this morning, and I was actually surprised by how much attention it got. The initial tweet where I posted just the article got about 40 tweets and 40 retweets and 40 favorites, and then posting this got about 30 each. So I went ahead and created a petition. I don't think that this will do any good, but I'd like to see some support done for this. At least get to 100. But we should be reinstating her as a trainer. She did good stuff. She treated women like men. That's what feminists always claim they want. They want to be treated like the men do, except that when it happens, then they bitch and complain. And I don't see any feminist supporters out there standing up for her and saying she should be reinstated. If anything, they'll probably be happy that she's gone because she doesn't support the narrative that feminists try to push. I'll take a quick look at some of the comments. The women should have voiced their concern with her beforehand instead of going behind her back to be sensitive children. They joined the Marines and they should be expected to toughen up just as the men are. I 100% agree with that. Solve things at the lowest level first. Go to your superior to complain. And if that doesn't do any, go to the superior of the superior. Then the superior of the superior of the superior. There's a chain of command in there for a reason. Instead, going right to the top, which seems to be a feminist tactic. Feminism is the radical notion that women are weak, pathetic, and useless, and that this weak, pathetic uselessness should be exploited to rake in a lot of money for a few people at the expense of the rest of us. It's like Aaron Pizzi all over again, but instead of violence shelters, it's Marines. That's a great honor to be compared to Aaron Pizzi. The kind of training that Lieutenant Colonel Germano oversaw on Paris Island is what makes the title Marine more important than male or female. It's Marine. I think that's what they were trying to say. This is the kind of training we need more of, not less. This is why you don't give women guns. Even in the Marines, they think that their job should be cushy. I don't think all females are like this, but there appears to be enough of them to cause a woman to lose her job for doing what she was supposed to do, honestly. Again, if you're watching this, if you want to leave a comment in chat, I'll try my best to read it. Because of the physical standards for women were already lower than those for the men when I was in basic army training in 1998. And someone who couldn't handle a harsh word is not the person I want beside me when my life is on the line. This woman has a phenomenal training record and is one I respect and would love to have as my drill. Give her back her job and nip this pussification of America's military in the bud before the rest of the world laughs at us and attacks. I'm signing because this situation is morally wrong and military suicide. You know what? This is morally wrong. Like I said, I namely support men's issues. I namely go after that, but I'm an egalitarian, and this is bad. This is basically saying that we're not supposed to treat women like men in any way. They're supposed to be treated better than men, and men always need to be treated worse. And she said bullshit to that and trained women the way they needed to be trained to be equal to their male counterparts, and she gets fucking fired for it. Maybe she's tough as nails. Maybe she's blunt. But she got results to make better Marines. She's doing something right. And that's, if you feel that way, if you agree with me in any way, I ask you to sign this petition. I mean, if we could get 1,000, maybe 100,000, that would be great. Let the civilians have a voice in this. Let us stand up and say, you know what? For our military, we want women to be as tough as nails. We want them on the front line. And if they're going to be on the front line, we want them to be battle ready. We don't want them to stand up in the middle of the battle and say, I feel so triggered by you shooting at me. You have to stop, ISIS. Oh, sorry. We didn't realize that there were women on the battlefield. We'll stop shooting at you because now you feel so triggered by us shooting at you. That's not going to happen. If a woman fucking did that, ISIS would laugh and shoot at them. That would be one dead female Marine who felt that her feelings was far more important than the situation of battle. This is horrible. I never really considered the idea of social justice warriors joining the military because I always figured that they weren't interested. And, I could maybe understand them joining the Air Force because, face it, the Air Force is a bit more, is easier than, the Army and the Marines by comparison. It has the shortest training time. And from what I understand, a lot easier than the others, especially when considering the Crucible. I don't think the Air Force has anything like that. But the fucking Marines, the people who go in there first to any situation, when troops land, it's generally the Marines, followed by the Army. And somehow it's wrong to train women this way. No, it's not wrong. It's wrong for her superiors to not say to these women, who the fuck are you to come to me to complain about your leader? You need to go to your leader and make these complaints. And if nothing happens, then you go through the proper channels until you get to me. And then maybe then I will fucking listen to you, you stupid piece of shit cunt special snowflake. How dare you come into this office and dishonor the United States, the United States Marine Corps? How dare you fucking dishonor it? Because your feelings might have been hurt. You need to go back to your chain of command and stop wasting my time. That is what her leadership should have fucking said. This isn't about people's feelings. This is not about coddling them. This is getting them ready to be in the military. Anyways, this is Mad Cat signing off.